The door with no handle. In the peaceful little town of Hollowind, the world moved slowly. It was the kind of place where morning fog hacked the ground and birds sang softly from chimney tops. People lived quiet lives and everyone knew everyone else's name, or at least their dog's name. But just behind an old bakery, at the very edge of a cobbled path no one swept anymore, stood a house that time seemed to have forgotten. It wasn't haunted, it wasn't broken, it was simply quiet. Too quiet. What made it scariest was a door on the back wall. It was perfectly square, made of dark wood, and sewed without a frame. No hinges, no handle, no lock. Just a smooth surface with one word carved in the center. Tomorrow. 9-year-old Elsie wasn't looking for mystery. She had simply been walking her dog, Milo, as she always did after school. He was a golden dog with ears too big for his head and a nose that sniffs everything twice. He tugged on the leash until Elsie stopped, almost tripping over a loose cobblestone. That's when she saw the door. It didn't look magical, it didn't glow, it didn't hum or whisper. It just stood there, silent with the word tomorrow, catching the golden lights of the afternoon sun. Elsie walked closer. Milo sat down without barking. Ears up, she reached out and touched the wood. It was cool. She knocked. Nothing. She whispered, "Is someone in there?" No answer. A small smile crossed her face. "Okay," she said. "I will come back tomorrow." The next day, Elsie brought a flower, a dandelion she picked from her neighbor's lawn. She placed it at the base of the door and waited. Nothing happened. She didn't mind. The day after, she brought a smooth rock she found near the river. Then a note that read, "Hello, my name is Elsie." Every day she brought something small, a drawing, a paint cone, a feather. The door never opened. The word never changed. But Elsie felt a strange comfort being near it, like she was visiting a friend who didn't speak. Weeks passed. People started to notice. Why does she keep going there? Old Mr. Tomlin asked the grocer. "She is leaving gifts," the grocer replied. "For who?" Mr. Tomlin didn't know. One morning, a little boy named Sam followed her. When she placed a seashell by the door, he placed a marble next to it. They sat in silence for 10 minutes. The next day 2 more kids came, then 5, then parents, then strangers. Some brought things, others simply sat. And someone painted a bench beside the wall. The area changed. Flowers grew. Someone built a small fence. A tree house appeared in the big tree nearby. The door still read, "Tomorrow." Elsie came every day, rain or shine. She never asked the door to open. She just showed up, and somehow that was enough. But then, one morning something changed. She arrived early, before the birds. Milo barked once and went ahead. Elsie froze. The word had changed. It no longer said tomorrow. Now it said, now. She stepped closer, heart pounding. Her hand trembled as she reached out. The door opened. There was no noise, just warmth. A soft golden light poured out, gentle and calm. The air smelled like morning and honey. Inside there were no walls, no floor, just light and air and the sound of something very quiet, like wind whispering, "Thank you." Elsie didn't step in. She smiled, turned to the crowd who had followed her without speaking, and said, "Maybe it's not a door to go through. Maybe it's a door to remind us that we are never alone. That small things matter. That showing up matters." But the story didn't end there. Days passed. The door stayed open, still glowing softly. People began to write their hopes on paper and place them just inside. A boy named Theo, who didn't speak much, lifted a paper that read, "I hope my brother comes home." 2 days later, his older brother returned from traveling overseas. A woman named Greta whispered, I wish I could feel less alone. And the next day she received 3 letters from friends she hadn't heard from in years. Word spread beyond Hollowind. People traveled from far away just to see the door. Some camped nearby. A small tea shop opened next to the bench. It served warm drinks and muffins shaped like keys. The mayor asked if the door could be moved to the town square. It couldn't. It simply wouldn't budge. A local artist tried to paint it, but the color faded by morning. A child once touched the light and said, "It feels like someone knows my name." Every person who visited took something invisible with them. A sense of calm, a bit of wonder, a question answered without words. The door became part of Halloween's heart. Children grew up beside it. Old men told stories near it. And Elsie, who was now older, still came by every day with Milo. No gray around the snows, she never walks through. Elsie's final visits. Years passed. Children who once played by the glowing doorway now brought their own children. The stories of the door were passed down like lullabies, soft, warm, and full of wonder. And Elsie, who had once been the little girl who discovered it all, had grown old. Her golden dog Milo had long since become part of the earth beneath the tree nearby. And now she walked with a cane and wore a soft blue shawl. Her hands, once small and curious, were now wrinkled and gentle. Still, she came, not every day but often enough. One crisp autumn morning, leaves swirling gently in the wind, Elsie made one final visit. The bench, though worn, still stood. The flowers were still fresh, and on the door, quite as always, stood a new word, one that hadn't been there before. Home. Elsie touched it with wrinkled fingers. She sat on the bench, and she smiled. That night she passed in her sleep, peacefully, surrounded by her family, who held her hand and told her the story of a door with no handle, and how she once taught an entire town what it meant to show up. The next morning the door said nothing at all. It was just still, no glow, no word, just smooth, withered wood. But people still came, because the magic wasn't gone. It had simply moved on into the hearts of those who had been there, and in Hollowind they always remembered the door with no handle.